Hey guys, and welcome to the patch notes for the 5th of September 2018 patch. So these patch notes are absolutely massive, as you can see. There's a lot of text, and a lot of it has to do with the Node Wars system that is changing next week. There's also a brand new Guild Alliance system, which also has to do with Node Wars. So it's a lot of stuff for those that care about Node Wars or care about guilds, but not that much for other players. So to start off with, there's a brand new event, hashtag BDO Remastered Festival, which is essentially us doing Black Desert's advertising for them in the hopes to win something. But we can't find out yet because they still have not told us what the global event entails. Loyal attendance rewards have been refreshed, so new loyalty attendance rewards, log in with next month, get them, you know the drill. Ongoing events, Hands of Gold, Late Summer Night's Dream, Valk's Attendance Rewards, Black Spirit's Adventure 1, Gold Rush, and Remastered Trailer Contest are all still ongoing. The Remastered Screenshot Contest has ended. So, the first big piece of content is the Guild Alliance has been added. So, this is pretty complex, so I'm not going to go too in-depth about it, but essentially, an alliance can have at most 10 guilds or 100 members. A minimum of 10 members and a maximum of 90 members are required of guilds seeking to join the alliance. This guild alliance can participate in node and conquest wars. So guilds who are already occupying a node or territory cannot join the guild alliance, and guilds cannot join the guild alliance while node or conquest war is already under progress. The founding guild becomes the supreme guild, and the guildmaster of the supreme guild can create the guild alliance. Then they can send invites to guildmasters of other guilds, and if every guildmaster they send an invite to accepts, the alliance is formed. If even one declines, the alliance is rejected. So, Supreme Guild can register Guild Alliance emblem after purchasing a Guild emblem certificate every Monday. The Guild Alliance emblem and name will only be exposed during node and conquest wars, or upon the occupation of a node or territory. Then the Guild Alliance emblem and name will be placed and displayed. So essentially if you had, for example, Yuki, Manup, and Vertex, they could be the Vertex Man Yuki Alliance. So invitations can be sent to Guildmasters, who are logged onto the same server, so they'd also have to be logged onto, for example, Common Sylvia 2. When sending the invitation, the tax distribution ratio must be totaled at 100% in order for the Guild Alliance to be formed. So, the Supreme Guild, upon sending invitations, has to place quota on each guild to fill in the required number of guild members. So here's where it starts to get a bit complex. Joining the Guild Alliance. The Supreme Guild cannot request quota on the number of guild members lower than the current number of the guild. So if the guild has 30 members currently, you can request that the guild provide 30 or more members, but not less. In addition, guilds that accept the invite to join the Guild Alliance while under the affiliation cannot accept new registrations in their guild above the quota they have been given to fill. So this goes back up to the maximum of 100 members. You could have 10 guilds, each with 10 members. You could have 2 guilds, one with 90, one with 10, or any number in between. But you cannot have more than 100 members in the guilds that are part of the alliance. So if you have two 51-member guilds, they cannot enter into an alliance with each other. So even the extra large guilds can form a guild alliance, but they would have to have a bunch of small guilds with them. So Guildmaster disconnects, there's a bunch of other stuff about it. The guild alliance will be automatically disbanded if one of the guilds leaves. So if you've got like a 5-guild alliance and one leaves, the entire alliance is disbanded. However, it cannot be disbanded while a node or territory is occupied. Members of guilds under the Guild Alliance cannot apply for the militia. Guilds with guild members applying for the militia cannot join the Guild Alliance. For node and conquest war, the construction of the fort is only allowed by the guildmaster or guild officer of the Supreme Guild, so the guild in charge. Annexes, however, can be constructed by any member of rank quartermaster or higher of each guild. When a siege building is purchased, guild funds from each guild will be used. So items such as elephants and galleys, only the Supreme Guild can use those, or can bring those, but members of any guild in the alliance can use them. Elephant nursery, however, can only be used by guild members of the Supreme Guild. Elephants already obtained can be used by all members of the Guild Alliance once they've been spawned. If different guild alliances declare war on each other, they can attack each other if it's not a node and conquest war. So basically guild alliances can have two big sets of guilds fighting each other, even though only one guild declared war. Savage Rift has been updated, so time required has been decreased by approximately 4 minutes. The Conquer Savage Rift event has ended, which means stage 26 is gone. However, for the much participation and appreciation shown for the special content, they've re-added it as a permanent content with a slight change in spec. So instead of 50%, it's a 40% chance, and it will open up 100% if Sonal appears. Ogring has been added to the loot list of Savage Rift reward box, can be obtained upon successfully protecting the sealed tower in the 26th stage, and a few other small changes. Combat experience obtainable for using Book of Training combat has been increased for the following level caps. So from 61 to 62, 2.5 times, 62 to 63, 2 times, 63 to 64, 1.5 times, 64 to 65, 1.2 times. Apart from that, the other and probably the biggest change this patch is the Node War rules that are changing next patch. So they're not changing this week, they're changing next week. However, they're in these patch notes for some reason. So with the new changes being updated, all Node Wars will be reset. So these are actually pretty big changes, so I'm going to read most of it. From when the Node War ends, the Guildmaster or Guild Officer will be able to take in admissions of guild members to join the next Node War. The Guildmaster or Guild Officer will be able to take in admissions of guild members to join the next Node War using the Recruit Closing button available on the bottom part of Guild Member Status window in Guild Window. Chance to occupy of the guild member status will change to participation status, where guild members can apply to participate in the next Node War during the recruiting period. Guild members can choose whether or not to participate until the deadline of the recruiting period. The deadline is set by the Guildmaster or Guild Officer. Once the deadline is up, no more requests to participate can be received from guild members. However, the Guild Officers and Master have 5 extra slots that they can use to manually add guild members in the node for the next Node War. However, once 5 have been added, no more members can be added to the next Node War. So depending on the number of participants, the Guild Master or Guild Officer will select which node to participate in, build a fort, and gear up for war. Recruitment and building the fort must both be completed before 8 o'clock UTC to be eligible to participate in that day's Node War. And the final number of the participating guild of guild members plus more member will decide which node can be selected. Upon building a fort on a relevant node, your guild will be considered to be participating in that Node War. If your guild withdraws a fort already built, everything will reset and your guild will have to start from recruitment again. So here you can see they've limited the number, from what it seems, they've limited the number of participants to certain Node Wars. So if you have 20 to 35 guild members, you can participate in Tier 1 Node Wars. There's 58 total nodes that guilds with 20 to 35 participating members can participate in. Then from 36 to 55, Tier 2, 56 to 70, Tier 3, and 71 to 100, Tier 4, with 48, 30, and 18 nodes respectively. 30 guild members can participate in specific nodes of Tier 3 or 4, however, but that number of nodes per tier differ by day. So there's also brand new rewards for winning Node Wars. So personal medal, if your guild wins, you get 3. If you're defeated, you get 1. Liberation, you get 1. And then the number of medals goes up depending on the tier. So a Tier 4 node that you win, you'll get 10. You still only get 1 for defeat no matter which node you're on. And for a liberation, you'll get 3 medals. Winning guild additional reward, top 5%, is 1, 2, 3, and 5 depending on the tier. So at a minimum, 20 guild members must be confirmed to participate in a Node War for the Node War to begin, so you cannot participate with less than 20 members. Node War times are unchanged, they will be exactly the same. Once the Node War concludes, rewards will be given out based on the result. Guilds will receive guild funds depending on the tier of nodes occupied. The participating guild member will obtain a medal depending on the result, so that's this thing up here. Medals can only be sent out via in-game mail, and it can stay in the mailbox for only 1 week, so make sure to claim them right away. Make sure you are aware that you are considered to be participating in the Node War during the Node War only. After the Node War concludes, you will be considered as a non-participant for the recruitment of the next Node War, or as the recruitment of the next Node War can be opened up right after, so you've got to re-register after every Node War. In order to participate in the Conquest War, at least 1 or more Tier 3 or 4 nodes must be occupied. Node War participation will be finalized only after a fort is built by 8 o'clock UTC, after registration to the Node War is confirmed. So, and then war status under the guild window will be changed to Conquest Node status, and in this section, the contribution of Conquest Node Wars progressed on that day will be shown. Contribution will be recorded based on the following actions during a Node or Conquest War. So, destroy command post 20, destroy fort 10, destroy gate 15, mount killed 0, destroy placement object 1, guildmaster, officer, and member killed 1 each. No points for dying, and you get 1 point for a kill with a siege weapon. And then your contribution is the total of all of this. Not sure how much I agree with giving stuff for command post, fort, and gate, as those are fairly RNG for who gets the kills, but the rest of it should allow for contribution to be tallied in a fairly, well, fair way based on gear. The top 5% of the participants who contributed the most to the node war will be rewarded a medal. So in a tier 1 node, you'll probably only get one participant, as you'll probably only have about one member who will get the medal. The first place adventure with the most contribution in the node war will be given a special reward additionally, and this will be sent via in-game mail. This special reward must be claimed within 1 day after it has been sent. So tier 1 and 2, HP increased by 300 for 24 hours, and tier 3 and 4, HP increased by 500 for 24 hours. The medal is a special reward that is rewarded based on your contribution to the node war, and you can exchange the medals for various items from a skill instructor NPC in each village. Any abusing or violation of and related to the medal may result in a restriction of your account, which is an interesting line to include. And the node list is based on the tier and day is below. Not going to go through that, but for anyone that wants it, I will include the patch note link in the description. Nodes to distinguish by day, so you can see how many there are per each day. So, after all those changes for node wars, which is about half the patch, the only real big change in this patch is to swimming. Swimming has been made much more convenient. You can now autopath using swimming with the T key, as you would perform auto run on the ground. When navigation is activated, press the T key to automatically swim to your destination. If stamina is over 300, you can of course press shift to swim faster, just like sprinting. And there's a few other quality of life stuff, such as pressing T when below 100 stamina will allow you to auto-activate the motion to recover stamina in the water if your character is at the surface. Changing direction is now easier when swimming. You can also move backwards diagonally, and the character will react faster to the directional arrow input of your control. Keys to allow you to dive up or down while diving have been added, so while pressing W, press E to dive up and Q to dive down. And stamina is increased by 50% of when the character takes stamina recovery motion. So the only other big change that is in the patch notes, so there's a lot of issue fixes, tons of issue fixes, game world issue fixes, NPC issue fixes, a few changes to the fishing boat mount, but mostly issue fixes. All classes, so this is the other big change here. The maximum input of key commands in a certain period of time has been set in order to fix the issue of character skill combos being activated at different rates depending on how fast a key command is inputted on a keyboard or how good a computer's hardware performance is, so tied to the FPS. However, this had an unintended consequence, and as a result, milk has been increased the amount you obtain by approximately 50%, as eventually it may be possible that the amount of milk obtainable at once from a milk a cow minigame may be less than before with certain high-end PCs. So, just a quick example of how changing one thing can break other things in the game. Apart from that, it's really just a lot of issue fixes. Issue fixes for the classes, issue fixes and sort of clipping fixes for the classes. There is a brand new ship license, Sorolk's Humble Fishing Boat, for 300 amity points from Portaferia Wharf Manager Sorolk, if you want to do the amity minigame for a fishing boat. And critical hit has been made a little easier to understand, and as a result the text about it has been changed on anything, all the foods related to it. Crafting methods for lawn items have been added to the costume mill, and following items can now be sold in shops, so most of the costumes that you can create in game. Apart from that, not really too many other big changes. A nice change is that there is now, after completing each story quest, you'll have to pay a small toll of Black Spirit times Claw times 1 to NPC Atosa to gain access to Aquaman and History right away, which should give you use to Black Spirit's Claws, otherwise they just sit on the marketplace. And there's also new story quests to gain you access to Aquaman and Histria, so quest is family bound, you can only do it once per character, or once per family rather, not once per character. So these are the quest lists. And apart from that, really just a lot of bug fixes. Typos, awkward dialogues, navigation, navigation, lantern fixes from removing the lantern. They've renewed the My Information window and fixed some more issues with UI. But yeah, so mostly this patch is issue fixes with a few major sweeping changes to Node Wars, swimming, and another change to hopefully change how FPS impacts skill usage. Anyways, guys, this was a huge patch, mostly in terms of reading it. The patch won't actually change the lives of most players, but for players that participate in Node Wars and Guild Alliance, this patch does have major ramifications starting this week and really ramping up with the Node War changes in next week's patch. Anyways, guys, like I said, patch notes for 5th of September 2018. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you liked it. Comment below what you think about the patch. Personally, I don't like them including the notes for what's going to happen next week, at least in the patch notes. They should include that somewhere else and then include those in next week's patch notes. But it is what it is. Comment below, and as always, have a good one.